and thank you for being here at the end of the last session. As we've seen for the last few hours, global tension, conflicts, shifting alliance are reshaping our world and the global order. Our next session, and I think it's written here, is Chinese creativity at home and abroad. It might seem counterintuitive to focus our next session on creativity and culture. But in the context of China and Europe, it's not only relevant, it's essential. Sorry, that better. Okay. And of course, it's essential. I would have to say that being the person in charge of culture and art and with partners in crime here to do the programming on arts and culture, you would not expect me to say it's not important. But as geopolitics harden, culture remains one of the last frontier for genuine dialogue. Many of you in this room know that beyond politics and trade, it's often through art, design, film, food, as Joyce said very earlier, food is important, and language that real connections happen. Where diplomacy may falter, art, literature, and shared story continue to build bridges. Creativity is a form of soft power, a way to foster understanding and connection. Europe and China are both cultural giants, with rich history and dynamic creative sectors. But how they express and export culture differs, and often reflecting deeper values. And I want to emphasize on value, because this is what it's all about. Europe champions openness, diversity, and rights. China balances heritage with state-guided modernity. This difference makes dialogue challenging, but also more important and urgent. Beyond identity, let's remember one thing. Creative industries are economic powerhouses. In both regions, they generate millions of jobs and billions in value. From fashion to film to gaming to architecture, creativity is not an expression, it's a strategy. And in today's digital world, where content is shaped with algorithm and controlled by a few platforms, cultural autonomy matters. How we tell story, who gets heard, what values are embedded in our digital space are now geopolitical questions. Lastly, creativity has a role in shaping our shared future. Shared future, which is at the core of Asia society mission and values. From climate change to social cohesion, we need imaginative thinking, narrative that moves people, not policies that just move paper. So why talk about creativity and culture now between China and Europe? Because they help us see one another more clearly, work together more effectively, and imagine futures that we might actually want to share. To run this next session, I will let the floor to two much more dynamic and young and energetic people that will run a very engaging session that will involve all of you. But before I do that, I want to apologize on one of our panelists who is gone. Qingqing, but it was on the original program. Qingqing, as many good dancers, have a back problem. And he is, as we say in French, cloué au lit, nailed in bed, and cannot, at the last moment, could not come. So she apologizes to all of you. She would have loved to be here. But there is a wonderful replacement, and I will let the two, Rohan, my good friend here that I just blanked on the name, Capucine. How can I do that, Capucine, to you? To come and introduce the next panelist. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
We're really far from each other.
Yeah, we're far from each other now, but it will fill up.
Our heart is close.
Yes. We are at the China Summit, and so this session will be slightly different with both English and Mandarin, so get ready for that. I will start by introducing Jiang Chong'er, who is a designer and artist. She co-founded Shangxia with Hermès, which is some of the most beautiful furniture I've ever seen in my life, that's inspired by Chinese craftsmanship and tradition. She's also an artist who recently, well, last year, exposed at the Musée Guimet here in Paris, and her exhibition was not only inside, but also outside on the facade with all of her sculptures. So Jiang Chong'er, please come up. Our second speaker, Jia Jiawei, is an award-winning screenwriter. She is the screenwriter of a film that you may have heard of, A Little Red Flower, which was one of the highest-grossing films in 2020 worldwide and has been nominated for 4 major awards. She's also written for other film and TV, and I'm sure we'll hear about it more. Please come up. And finally, I will introduce my brilliant co-moderator before Rohan introduces our final speaker. Rohan is the co-host and co-founder of the Weirdo podcast. Yes. I forgot the Chinese name. Can you help me out?
It's fine. I forgive you. 不合时宜.
不合时宜, which has no less than 1 million listeners and talks about a variety of topics from climate, art, culture, to journalism and geopolitics. So over to you.
Yes, thank you for Kapu's kind words. Now, welcome everyone joining me to welcome our final panelist, Huang Rui. Huang Rui was very important in art history of China. He was a founding member of Chinese avant-garde art group, the Starred Arts Group, 新兴画会. Which included lots of famous artists you might have heard of before, like Ai Weiwei or Huang Keping. They're also the first publicly active art collective to protest government censorship after the Cultural Revolution in China. And also they have lots of close ties with France as well. So Centre Pompidou actually recently just organized a 30 years retrospective of their works. Welcome. Yes, actually, when we are speaking about the power of the culture, I want to mention a thing when I arrived Paris yesterday. So I live in Amsterdam, and yesterday when I arrived Paris, somehow my mind was just cannot stop playing the music and scene of the movie Amélie. So I feel like that's the power of culture. Because when the culture is spreading to the world, you know, I watched this movie when I was 10, and it's like super influencer among Chinese audience and younger generations. So I think it's just like such a fitting session to talk about culture and creativity in Paris, and also how Chinese culture were affected by the global and how it's affecting the global perspective as well. So my first question would be, since like all of our speakers actually had like cross-culture living experience, all of you actually are living in Western and Eastern before. So my first question would be, how did you perceive yourself and your living experience in Western and Eastern to influence your artworks? So maybe we, starting from the Chong'er.
Okay. 大家下午好 Bonjour, good evening, good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here today. And I'm born in Shanghai, in China, and then I came to France, study in Art Deco in Paris. So France and China are both like two parts, very important cultural roots in my life when I create. And so I want to make it short because otherwise I can talk 1 hour about this question. So I think today, 21st century, 2025, July, I think an artist, when you have multi-cultural background, I think today our mission is no more representing our individual expression, artistic expression. I think today's world, we need some artists to try to create at the place of humanity, which I mean, when you create, normally you say what I want to say as an artist. But I think today we have the mission, and it's the time, very important time, that artists, you ask what this world needs and what humanity needs to be awakened, which message we need to pass. And so, like you said, my project at the Musée Guimet, it's about origin, to call that all life stems from same root, that we are not looking for what we are different from our culture. We are looking for through art what we are in common. And maybe with this common power and common points that make people be together and take care of each other, and maybe we can go together to the future. So I think that's how I identify, myself as an artist. Whatever you do as monumental installation, a design, or a painting, it's more for this. It's keep the soul awakened. And I think today, with the technology, with all of this, very speedy, developed, AI, all of this, it's even more important art. And maybe it's too serious what I say, but I truly believe art is the arc de Noé, how you say English? The Noah's Ark of human being civilizations. And I think art should be beyond language, beyond words. It's how to say, it's a emotion, it's a message, it's a feeling for all of us being together. Thank you.
Yes, actually this question I also want to ask Kapsing, because I didn't mention your background, but actually you are having very rich background living in different places. You are in China for 5 years and you are choosing like very specific location in China like Chengdu or Hong Kong and like Shanghai, so you're being everywhere like in China, and also you are working in Paris now, so like Kapsi also co-founded like a very good platform to promote the women mental health. So I would like to know your opinion about this question a little bit as well when we move forward to other panelists.
Absolutely. Can you hear me? Yeah. How did China shape me, or my experience, my cross-cultural experience? I grew up between Morocco and London, even though I'm French, and then I spent 5 years in China. So I don't think I would be who I am today without the cross-cultural experience. I'm not an artist, unfortunately. I'm a creator in some way. But I think everything we do is informed by our past. And for me, the cross-cultural past informs what I do today as well.
Fantastic. So let's also go to Huang Rui, because I know you live in Paris for 30 years, and Pompidou just had your exhibition. I'm just trying to speak the question again. And for 黄瑞老师，我想问您，就是您觉得您在巴黎的生活经历，或者是您之前在中国，然后现在在西方生活的经历，如何影响了你的艺术创作
？Sorry, my English very poor. Actually, I'm not living France. My friend living here, so same group, stars group, another member, name is Wang Keping, Ma Desheng. They live in France, and Li Shuang live in France more than 40 years. But for me, I'm just moving Paris start to living last month. Start really. But my partner is French. I have a lot of friends living, Chinese, French, living in Paris. So I love Paris. One thing. That's it. But another one, I'm not going to here to participate talk. Really, so someone...
To explain, Huang Laoshi found out 2 hours ago that he was participating in this talk because of what Jean-Michel mentioned, Xinxing est clouée au lit, so she's got her back problem and in bed. But we're so lucky to have you. We really are, I'm not joking. And just to give context, it's so great to have different generations of Chinese artists with us. And you were one of the first contemporary artists that led a movement in China that still inspires the generation today. And so thank you for being here.
Thank you. You gave me brave. So I could say I'm outsider. I'm outside, always standing outside mainstream, or the outside of government policy. I'm not thinking about some idea or some route, some way to build up political way, standing in political position. I'm just learning Taoism more than 40 years, more than 40 years. The Taoism always push you thinking obsession. So always push you thinking about changing, differencing. So I do that. I'm also participate the first generation after the Cultural Revolution. We decide making avant-garde. Even that time, we don't know that the words of avant-garde, but with some poet and artist, some writer, we have underground group moving Beijing, starting beginning of 70s. And then after the Cultural Revolution, we make very important movement. The name is the Stars. Another name is Today. Today, just last night, I met my really old friend. We had relationship from 1969. Bei Dao, a very famous poet. Bei Dao and me and Monker create underground magazine Today. But Bei Dao is one of really hard decision to keep Today's magazine keep going, upholding more than from 1978 until to right now. Even right now, in China mainland, censored Today's magazine. That is the situation. So, okay.
Yeah, I think definitely in China, the censorship affecting the art and culture a lot, because just looking back my journalism experience, that's the same as well, because I was working for institutional media, and then one of the media was banned by the government. So that's actually basically the story why I started my own podcast. So definitely, if we are talking about culture in China, the censorship and regulation is kind of avoiding topics. So let's also talk with Jia Wei, because Jia Wei is a very famous screenwriter, and your works cross the film and TV. So how you are also living in Paris now? You didn't move yesterday, right? Moved to here yesterday. So I wonder, like, how did you perceive your working and living experience, and how it reflects your creation?
Comparing to the two amazing artists, especially Huang Rui, my experience is really very short and brief. The moment I feel the most creative, the moment don't often happen when I feel comfort or I feel settled. It's always like when I feel nervous or I feel the obvious existence anxiety. It's like something happened. I feel creative. I moved to London in 2019 from Beijing. Before that, I worked in Beijing as a screenwriter for years. That year, I moved to London for another master degree in the time of Brexit. And immediately after that, it's a pandemic hit. So honestly, I feel the most valuable part of my overpriced British education is learn how to living through math. I once asked Duncan, it's like, because Duncan travels everywhere and Duncan is slightly older than me, sorry, more experienced than me. Yeah. So I asked Duncan, was the world always like this? It's like, it's always changing so fast, or I moved to London, then it began to change. So I asked stupid questions like that. But at that time, the life paused. So I started to question like what was normal and what was the new normal. So, and China and UK, they were coping the situation totally different. So it made me reflect a lot. So after 2 years, I moved to Paris. At that time, it was still difficult to travel back to China. So I kind of stuck here. I couldn't speak French. It's very difficult, so I couldn't understand. I couldn't speak. So I felt like I live in a vacuum, like physically in France, but not actually in it. So I feel at that time, it's like I push myself to ask a lot of questions I never asked before. So for me, the cultural identity is not like about geography or language or other elements. They doesn't define it directly. It's about it's like it's all about the gaps, the frictions, and the moments of confusion between the different cultures. It made me rethink. So for me, the cultural identity is constantly reforming, and it's evolving, it's shifting, it's always changing. But right now, since I live in Paris right now, I find myself have more interest in writing Chinese stories because I come from the Chinese culture, but I'm not defined by thinker of that anymore. So I feel I now have the freedom to carry what I want to carry and keep on reshaping my ways to see the world. Yeah.
It's so interesting. Often you find out more about yourself in a foreign country than in your own country. Our second question for you, since we've spoken about this cross-culture between France and China, is how do you view China's cultural presence on the international stage today, its strengths and its constraints? 然后我也会讲中文。你会如何看待中国艺术和文化在中国和西方的不同之处？就琼儿 since your artwork has recently entered UNESCO's permanent collection, I'd love to hear from you first.
This is a very large question. And from my practice, I think there is always culture, different expressions. But the root, the foundation, there's always something same. We are looking for beauty, aesthetic beauty. We are looking for love. But the expression could be different. And so what I think, from China, as I said, I have double culture, Chinese and French. And so when I try to create, I think last 5 years, I feel particularly strong that a Chinese ink and brush is not enough for me to express. I think it's, as I shared for the first question, it's important to take the feather of humanity, you know. And again, to answer your question, I think China today, everybody talk about China and interested in China. Different people has different understanding, living experience. So China is very unique for each one. And I think art, at least from my personal practice, art cannot resolve, you know, how to say, to find a solution of conflicts, of different opinions, but at least art can open a dialogue, open a window, a door, like start a dialogue. The dialogue allowed us to talk, to know each other better.
Do you have a concrete example?
For example, when I create the 12 mythical creatures for Musée Guimet, for example, when the president of Musée Guimet invited me for that monumental art installation, I told myself, here today in Paris, the Olympics, you know, and on the Place d'Iéna, I'm no more only representing China, okay? And I'm dialoguing with the world. So then the 12 mythical creatures, maybe some of you saw them, each of them is calling a collective human being value, calling for peace, calling for freedom, calling for bravery, calling for equality, calling for the nature, the time, the 12 collective human being values. And how I create them, I go back to the history. I find in the ancient Maya culture, ancient Egypt culture, ancient Chinese culture, India culture, we already have mythical creators who were the guardians of different dynasty or period of time. And I invited them to coming out from the history with AI, the technology, which is today, the symbol of today. I recreate 15,000 baby mythical creatures, mixed, métis. They are the métis of human being civilizations. And then, so you will see this, you saw these mythical creatures, they are first time being born, but their parents, grandparents, grandparents, all exist already. So I think, again, you know, as I said, you know, I am Chinese, you know, born artist, but today I really convinced that when you create, is no more representing one nation. It's for people, for humanity, and particularly today. As strong, I maybe share with you a joke, as there's no press here. So I can share with you a joke. There's press here, so I don't talk. No, okay.
A good press.
A joke. Okay. So for Musée Guimet project, we were invited for France 24 à la télé, 1 hour talk. And then the journalist, she did not briefing us at all what we would talk. 1 hour, all went very well. Suddenly, she talked to me. You know, Chong-er, as an artist in China, you don't have freedom, you don't have blah, blah, da, 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 da. And then, you know, then she really started to, I was not prepared for that kind of question. And then I make it short. Then I was sweating, but nobody saw me sweating because it's on life. When she stopped the question, I have to answer. And and then when she finished the question, then I replied. I said, first of all, you are talking about, you know, looking for really the, you know, the culture. She's really looking for the culture difference. You know, in China it's like this, in na. And then I told her, you know, today, if we keep looking for our difference to divide us, human beings go nowhere. And today, the mission is to reunite together the human being. And otherwise, you know, what can be, you know, what democracy system, communist, you know, if the human being disappeared, you know, and what the meaning for all of these political systems. And so I was, answering like that. And I, in the end, I told her, I said, today, if I may, if we are in a democratic country, so I'm really calling for the, réunion, like the reunion of human beings. And then, so I make it short. I forgot what I tell. But in the end, it went well. Then she asked the same question to Yannick, the president of Musée Guimet. She replied in a very nice way. She said, the president, as the president of the museum, it's like a culture diplomat. And using culture, you dialogue. With culture, you exchange. And so that's how we went through this kind of dialogue on life.
What a beautiful metaphor. Culture as a dialogue. Huang Rui, I know that the STARS movement, which you were part of in the 70s and the 80s, also received support from Europe, and there was a dialogue between you and Europe. I'd love to understand, Chong-ar spoke about today, but in history, how has this dialogue been, and could you give examples? 我也可以中文再讲。对，就我的问题是关于 STARS movement， 也受到了欧洲和法国的支持。就你可以给我们讲一下这个支持怎么帮助了你们，然后这个对话就怎么也帮助了你们。也欢迎你讲中文，我们可以帮助你翻译。
对，我先试试我的破英文，先试试我的
好的
破英文。So I started to learn painting really early, so since my 3 years old. Naturally, I remember how to line to make a form, actually, naturally. Then I'm going to little school. I get really good friend. He is son of Zhang Daqian student. Zhang Daqian is very famous. We together, two boys, starting learn ink painting. So we learn from 9 years old to 11, so almost 2 years. So all the class we learning use brush, touch, ink, put ink on paper, just make Chinese character. All of our class studying, just again, repeat. Then Cultural Revolution start. Everything stopped. We stopped learning. His father sent to camp. His father and mother died in second year, 1967. Okay, I restart to making painting from my self-selection. That time, I really love Western music and start reading the novel of Western writers. Really start in myself secretly. Then I start to make oil painting and drawings. I borrowed sketch of Michelangelo from Library of Beijing during Cultural Revolution. Then, very important time for me, changed me. So I'm already think I'm one of a young person to join avant-garde movement. So, but my friend, all of writer, poet, painting, not easy directly going to contemporary art. We should to learn step by step. Then one day, the French government sent the big exhibition in 1978 showing Namok, National Museum of China, Beijing. They select almost 100 master paintings. The title is French painting, landscape painting in 19th century. Then in the last part, two artists, one Cézanne, one Van Gogh. But these two artists, China Academy, the Art Academy, don't want them come to Beijing. They not put in the name list information in the exhibition. I really don't understand the people, the art student going to looking Courbet, Millet, something. Of course, the beautiful painting and Monet. But last one, when I directly in front of Cézanne, sorry, I'm full-time use English to explaining that time. I think it's really brave to me, really open my mind, not my eye, because Cézanne painting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a masterpiece. Placard, still paintings like apple together, then landscape. You know, I'm here to talk about you. So my thing, Cézanne